tomorrow, build your character today. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Ashe. I just say a prayer to my Ori, yeah. When I wake, I sprinkle some OT, yeah. I can break the chains cause I'm free, yeah. My Egun is watching over me, yeah. Kneeling down, I'm praying at the shrine. All it takes is just a little time. Ancestors sending me some signs. I can see, but surely I was blind. I got a shoe, I got Ogun, I got Oya, I got Oshun, I got the sun, I got the moon, I got Oyin, I got Ofun, yeah. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Ashe. Cool my head and then I throw the Obi. All white or till I'm holy. People thinking that they really know me. Say you speak the truth, you gotta show me. Wisdom coming straight from a Romela. Tap you on your shoulder, he's pursuing ya. Oyimbo up in that village trying to ruin ya. Trying to ruin ya. Trying to ruin ya. I got a shoe, I got Ogun, I got Oya, I got Oshun, I got the sun, I got the moon, I got Oyin, I got Ofun, yeah. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Ashe. Sharpshooter, focus like a Chelsea. Coming out the temple, smelling smoky. Trying to find my way like a shoe. Dressed in yellow, y'all, that's all blue. Big, big, coming, that's my crew. All I really need is just a few. Wanna see Orisha look at you. Not just what you say, but what you do. I got a shoe, I got Ogun, I got Oya, I got Oshun, I got the sun, I got the moon, I got Oyin, I got Ofun, yeah. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Iwapele, Iwapele. Live tomorrow, build your character today. Ashe.
Hi, welcome to Ocean Yummy's channel. So today I'm going to put on a podcast. You know me and my podcast, innit? You know what I'm like with my podcast about a Sangoma who talks about ancestor worship, because a lot of people always wonder about ancestor worship. So I think the best person to explain it is a Sangoma. There are many houses as well that deals with Orisha practices, Ifa practices, the Egunguns, which is the ancestors. So I'm gonna play this. I'm not gonna really say a lot because it's been just one of them days. Um, Let me just. Oh yeah, I see what I'm doing now.
'20s, I just started to feel a desire to understand God and understand my purpose in woman. She is guided by the elevated ancestors of her lineage, which includes the Mosi in here in woman. She is guided by the elevated ancestors of her lineage, which includes the Mosi of West Africa and the Zulu of South Africa. So Gogo works as a diviner using ancestral shamanic practices and ceremonial traditions. For healing practice, she offers workshops, ceremonies, and retreats from the perspective of ancient African cosmologies. She walks the path of a wisdom keeper, devoted to preserving and honoring the ancestral way of healing. Let me know in the comments, what is your biggest takeaway from this interview? Okay, and let's get started. Enjoy. So welcome, Gogo. I am so happy and grateful that you're here today to record this for my tribe.
Gogo, greetings. Welcome. Thank you for the space. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I greet you and I greet your ancestors and all the divine spirits that are allowing us to gather here today.
Beautiful. So I think that a lot of the goddesses in my tribe would like to know how you came to this specific path.
Absolutely. I was actually born in West Africa and I came to the United States when I was about 4 years old. I grew up with a family background that was Catholic and religious.
Wow.
And so the beginning part of my path was very religious. In my very early teens and 20s, I just started to feel a desire to understand God and understand my purpose more. And in trying to make religion work for me, I just felt more frustrated. I just felt more lost. I felt like I had more questions and more guilt and shame and things of that nature. So when opportunity presented itself in a really random way, I came across a metaphysical book that just began to just answer a lot of my questions. And it kind of took me into these universal concepts of God and the soul and our purpose. And that really allowed me to open up to just studying different spiritual practices, different spiritual mindsets and philosophies, because I thought that somebody on the planet must have figured this out. I really went into like this spirit junkie mode, but realized that I needed to step out of just studying and understanding spirituality through books, but really open up to experiencing things and knowing for myself. Because I wanted to get out of just always being dependent on something else to feel right in this world. And so I went to my first spiritual retreat that was guided by a group of women of color, and I experienced my first Native American sweat lodge ceremony. And this was the first time doing anything earth-based, anything connected to ancestors. It was just really profound to be around women in this dark womb space and on the earth, and seeing people have various spiritual experiences. It just really touched me. It was something that I had never done before. And so one of the women there, just guided us to, if we wanted to go deeper, if we wanted to do more work, she connected us to an African traditional healer here in the United States. And I got my first ancestral reading or African traditional reading. And I heard from my ancestors for the first time. Sometimes when we get readings, there's a lot of messages, and because we're very new to things, she said a lot of things that like really resonated, and then some things that I was just like, I have no idea what that means, but okay. But one of the things that came through was the fact that I come from a lineage of healers, or people that had healers and medicine people, and that I was also called to be an African priest or priestess. And so that kind of spearheaded my journey into going through a rites of passage, going through an initiation, learning about the ancient ways of my ancestors. And so just to make the long story very short, that's what kind of opened the way for me.
From say that reading, how long was your journey to where you are, now, where you are a priestess and where you provide services? How long a journey was that of training and initiation?
My particular training was about a 3-year period.
Mm-hmm.
There were certain things that were unique to me that may not have been with other people, but our traditional way, at least from the Southern African traditions, is that there's no like timeline for a program with the ancestors. There wasn't like this set 1 year, 2 year. It's you go into the process, you learn the ways, and you do the healing and the cleansing, and then your ancestors say when you're finished, or there's certain signs and symbols and dreams that you have that signify to the elders or to your baba and teacher that you are ready to now continue to learn and initiate from the space of sitting as a healer. So my particular journey was 3 years. But for somebody else, it could be different. In the old days, this could have been a 10, 20-year process. Right. But we're living in a time where, we got to get this quickly, and we're not in the same exact environment. And so even in Africa, this is changing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not in that traditional space anymore where, you know, you're living in the same village with the you know, your baba, who you're being trained by, your teacher. Yeah, so it has to be, I'm sure changes have been made for the times.
Yes.
And that's really also why I invited you here. I had mentioned to you when we spoke previously that I made a video from my shamanic teacher. Some of it was a little difficult for my viewers, and I felt unsure of how to follow up, because my teacher said she felt I shouldn't share what I thought would be the next step. She's like, I don't think you should share that as an online thing because you're not there to help people, you know, and I'm not fully trained in that shamanic tradition. She has the training she does. She said people could get into trouble and just, you know, can you talk a little bit about that? Why some things are held back and they're just not out there?
I mean, naturally, it's just about the way of life of indigenous people and communities. You know, when you were younger, certain gifts and abilities would have been recognized by you at an early age, and
Right.
you would have been paired with an elder, a grandmother, or grandfather, or somebody in the community to help and assist you every step of the way.
Wow.
It's a very lineage oriented thing. You don't just go up and, at least from our perspective, you don't just go up and sign up for something. It's all
Right.
guided by spirit.
Right.
And then because you're a child in the eyes of the ancestors, you do need that nurturing of a spiritual mother or father, because some people can open portals and a lot of strange things start to happen, and then you don't have that support. Talking a few days about some people are having spiritual awakening systems in the middle of their jobs, in the middle of the hospitals, and nobody around there has the consciousness to understand what is happening with you. So I get why. And the second part is that our traditions are our secret societies and our secret mysteries, and the information that we begin to have access to comes with responsibility. And so it takes good character, it takes integrity, and so I understand where the elders are coming from in terms of not showing everything and not sharing everything. But even now in 2020 and in this new century, there are elders that are coming forth and saying it is no longer the time to hide things. The state of the world and the way that things are unfolding is that we need to share some of these secrets. We need to allow people to find their way. And so I respect that there are certain things that probably, it would be great if it wasn't online. It would be great if, there was a little bit more sense, but we're all spread across the different world, and we're just in a different time. And I think that it's important to explore, because we don't have elders in place for certain things. It's like we're not just going to not do anything. Our spirits are calling us. We're feeling the shifts. We're feeling this. Like, get up and do something. Get up and try something. Get up and go somewhere. That's what I did. My journey went in a lot of different waves and directions, but I honestly would not be where I am now if I didn't explore, if I didn't challenge, and I wasn't willing to be a little bit of a rebel. I think that when we try certain things that we see online, it's just important to, at some point, bring somebody else into the circle, get some support, get some feedback. And I think that eventually, the spirits are going to allow to put those things in place that used to be there for us in this modern way.
Basically, what I hear you saying is start a path. Of course, always have your discernment in place. Don't go join some, because some people, which is not what we're talking about. They'll just go off and join some community, and it's like, oh my God, I'm in a cult. I just want to put that out. I'm saying keep your discernment.
Yes.
But I think what Gogo is saying is, as you continue, you're going to explore, and you'll start to be guided from internally, right? And you'll be led to those elders and those teachers who can support you.
Yes. And I just want to be real about the fact that, sometimes we're guided to leaders and healers that are not just teaching us the way, but they're also teaching us who not to be and what not to do. And so sometimes we have to recognize that, okay, this was an experience that I had. I recognize the lesson, and then I move forward, because I know that just like in any industry or any path in this world, there are those who aren't sharing from the highest place of integrity, or they're still sharing from their space of pain and trauma and things of that nature. But that's just a human thing that is happening across the board, everywhere on the planet, and it's the journey of life.
Yes, and it doesn't negate that specific path even.
Exactly.
I mean, this is now speaking for myself. I am, and I've been told that I'm like this. I I can help lead people to what their path is. It doesn't mean that so everybody has to become this or label themselves that, because yes, we're going to find basically dysfunction or those coming from their pain body in any tradition, any spiritual or religious tradition, is what I hear you saying. And that's why I was using the word discernment. You know, keep your discernment and keep your inner guidance all along the path.
One more thing that I want to add about that is that sometimes it can be difficult with discernment to really begin to tell, because sometimes our elders and our teachers aren't going to make us feel comfortable. They're going to challenge us. They're going to see things about us that we don't see for ourselves. And it can be very easy to now begin to judge this person that is trying to help you, because you're feeling energy move in a way that you don't understand. And so it's just important to remain open.
No, I hear you. I hear you, because I mean, I feel like I've been on this path probably literally since I was 14. And I won't say, I don't like to give my age, because I feel in this society, people very much put you in a box depending on the age. They're like, oh, you should be like this or should be like that. So that's one main reason I don't like to give my age. But yeah, for instance, really briefly, I learned yoga at Kripalu Yoga Center. And it turns out literally, Gogo, I was finishing my teacher training. I was the last teacher training group with that guru intact. It's very famous. It was in like the Boston Globe. He basically was, was engaging in misconduct he basically had a mistress while preaching celibacy, no less, to his disciples. And so it was a huge scandal at Kripalu. It rebounded within a couple of years, and there's no longer a guru. But I hear what you're saying, because we have to keep discernment, and yet at the same time, our teacher might put us in an uncomfortable situation or bring up, like shadow aspects of ourselves that we don't want to see. So it is a steep path, I would say. Yeah. So one of the wonderful things I really hope you can share with my tribe is, and so from my video, I hope I'm doing it in a linear enough. I basically was looking at ancestors like, not the way I think a lot of us think of maybe great-grandparents, grandparents. Like I was opening the scope of especially those of African descent, our ancestry, which is worldwide, basically. And in one of my first journeys at an ancestral workshop with my teacher, I actually met an Irish ancestor. Interestingly enough, and so I talked about that in the video, and then that seemed to trigger a lot of people, because like one person wrote me and she said, and I'm glad she wrote me, but she said, but we don't want to connect with the abusive ancestors, or that were through abuse. And I had not said that, Gogo. I made it really clear. In fact, you were to ask for to connect with the healers, the shamans. Like I made a whole thing about that, but I don't know. Can you speak a little bit? I know this isn't something we had planned particularly, but especially those of us with really diverse backgrounds, I believe that there's healing to be had in connecting with the healers, in any tradition that's in our lineage, going back. This ancestor, I want to say, was like 7th century. It was crazy. It really surprised me. And literally when I came back and I was reporting to my teacher, she was just smiling and she had this strange look. And I said, what? And she said, before we went into this journey, Spirit said to her, Vivine, she's going to be surprised because she's following her father's lineage. And my dad is like a deep chocolate brown. And they said, but she's going to end up in Europe. And she was smiling because she hadn't told me that, Gogo. But I came back, I'm like, this is who I met, and she was very helpful. Because we went before the trauma, we went pre-trauma, which is one of the things my teacher teaches us. So anyway, can you share a little bit on that?
No, I just want to focus and tune into the conversation is happening around tuning into elevated ancestors and beings, and then the energy of maybe traumatic or painful ancestors.
Yes.
And what I say is, what I can agree upon is that, yes, we want to call on the light. We want to call on the energies that were elevated. We want to call on those we had and rightful relationships with and are connected to, they are our guides for sure. But in the spiritual realm, there is not just guides, there is not just light, there is everything. And a lot of times when we open up portals, the first things that we see is the darkness, is the ugly, is the pain, is what is a problem. And we have to move through that in order to get to the light, in order to get to the elevated spirits. The whole concept of awakening is bringing in light, right? And so that light has to burst past and through a lot of darkness. And so if opening the portals and dark energies or sad ancestors or ancestors that did horrible things are coming through, that means they need to be elevated and they need to be cleared, and certain soul contracts need to be rewritten so that now that energy can clear, and then there's just more and more light and more divinity. And so to me, this ignoring of, you don't call upon painful ancestors for help, but you may need to call in those painful ancestors, because right now the way that they're vibrating in your energy field or in your Akashic records is causing problems with money, it's causing problems with fertility, or it's causing problems with a number of different things. So our problems, our blockages are connected to these lower, or these energies that are vibrating at an energy that matches the problem. And so if you want to solve that problem, you want to address those spirits, you may need support in doing that. But I don't think that is, I don't want to, like, to me, to ignore ancestors that were oppressive or things of that nature is like saying that you don't want to embrace all of life and all of God, because God is in everything, involved with everything. We are meant to help transcend those energies and not exclude anything. I think there's this aspect of like avoidance, and there's no way to avoid, like, we can think that we're doing that, we can think that we're pushing something to the side, but it's just coming back around in a different form that we don't even recognize.
Yeah, that it's a very deep conversation. Goddesses, my
It was so short, it's unreal, but there is a lot of information in there. As you know, the Sangomas, Gogo means grandmother. So the Sangomas, they worship the earth, innit? So that's why that's why I like this lady and how she spoke about how she became part of the Sangomas as well. I mean, I was looking for one to do the ether, but it's quite hard to get one of the ether system ones, because sometimes it's better to just have a straight out interview with them, basically, because then you hear it from the horse's mouth. So, ancestor worship. Now, though there is a misconception of ancestor worship, because they said, oh, yeah, right, you're worshipping idols, you're worshipping, you're worshipping people who's not there, like, unbeknown to them, right? Sorry, my daughter's up. You have to acknowledge the ones that came before you. Obviously, you have to have a good research. You have to get idea. You cannot deal with an ancestor that have passed in a traumatic way, because they will bring dramatic things to your life. Now, most cases, what I've seen, most teachers will say to you, for them to pay their debt, right, you have to get ancestral money. So you burn it so that they can pay their debt wherever they are. So once you pay their debt, then they can transcend to the next side as well, because they have, it's like, right, it's like you're acknowledging their pain kind of thing. So though people have a very misconception of ancestor worship as well, i.e. movies is another way of misconception. It doesn't show the realness of the ancestral worship. Hi everybody, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't show the fullness of it. Now, unless you follow certain people on YouTube who deals with ancestor worship on a regular basis, who acknowledge them on a regular basis, then you would realize to yourself that how you have a deep connection with your ancestors, right? So, as tinfoil saying, yeah, it's passed in the DNA, yeah. So, i.e., like me, I give myself as a good example. Now, for as you know, I come from a spiritual Baptist background already, right? I was Rasta, then I was Nation Islam, and then I reached the look of me. Well, so happens that my mum revealed to me that, there is a Cuban link. There is a Cuban link with Panama people. So I'm linked to Panama people as well. And there is a Gambian link, I think she said, and a Nigerian link, which all makes sense to me, right, in a kind of way, because I was reflecting that anyway through, you could say, the journey, as they say, they put it. So I was listening to the music and acknowledging the ancestral lineage from time, i.e., going to the beach, giving offerings to the water, unaware of what is what. By this time, now I found myself. I met a Lukumi, a Santeria Baba. Now, when you go to the tambos, which he was doing on a regular, he had a area for the egungun. So when they were playing to i.e. Oshun or whoever the time they're observing, I'll find myself dancing near the egunguns, the ancestral site, the ancestral um, little shrine that he set up. Now, when you're not aware of certain things and you're just following your flow, your spirit, or whatever, you are unaware what you have linked yourself to. So you're just thinking, okay, I linked myself um, to this set, as they call them. So then later on, I realized I was collecting a lot of stuff. I was eating Nigerian food, drinking palm wine naturally, not even thinking about it. You know, you get dreams of the ancestors making themselves known because they do actually do that. So you get dreams and visions. Now, after a while, I think now, due to family, everything else, you do actually forget sometimes to acknowledge the ancestors, the one who came before you, i.e., pouring libations. You go out, it's like you're mentally connected to the ancestral realm. But I mean, I don't know whether I explained it properly though, but you are mentally connected and you are therefore being led. Right, you're being led. You're being led to go to do certain things. And, I've sat at ancestors' table before with the pictures, the um, funeral paper, the funeral program, water. I didn't put food on it, but I always had water and flowers. Yeah, flowers. Yeah, so I always acknowledge them or observe them. Um, After a while, they do actually come to you and take and lead you wherever they need to lead you. You know what I mean? So, um, what the Gogo said is quite interesting because when you free up yourself and you let them take you where you supposed to go, they take you to places, isn't it? So in her case, she ended up being initiated. In my case, I ended up getting 3 warriors, but I didn't go through the initiation process, even though I do understand the Santeria like the back of my hand, you can say. But I do understand it. So she's taken a huge step into directly dealing with the energies and all that. So um, basically, I'm just thinking to myself, like, though I wanted to take the step because I feel when you can talk the language to the ancestor, they hear you more than when you talk in English. So I'm just like, wow, you know. But like I said, like as I put in the description, yeah, as I put in the description, like sometimes, right, because we're so busy, right, we tend to forget and we tend not to acknowledge them. We don't make that time. We don't take the time out. Don't, you know, we don't, do the research, which is really important. Do the research, find out who is who and what is what and where they fit on the tree. And some people end up calling, bringing like traumatized ones, but you, the relative, is supposed to heal the family line as well. So, so people's sometimes, not all the time, but some people get it mixed up or get it wrong unless they're guided by a teacher. Now, she's lucky she got a teacher to guide her. Now, I wasn't so lucky um, to get taught by a teacher, so that I can step to the next level or so be it, whatever the next level is. So, when you take time out, which is very important, it's very important you find out who they are, what they done for the world or whatever, because you'll be surprised when you find out the lineage, the origins, and all that. That's very important. Like, they will make themselves known to you anyway. They will guide you for real. They're not gonna let you down. If there's anything in your way, they will move it out the way. Additionally, there is the other ancestors, which I spoke about a little while ago, like Orishas. There's other names for them, for the gods and goddesses, all around different parts of Africa, different parts of South America. They have different names. So sometimes it's best to find out their names and be very specific. Santa Muerte comes under ancestral worship. Yes, Santa Muerte kind of does in a way because she represents the poor and needy as well, and there's a Mexican lineage there. But she does work with um, black people, indigenous people. So basically, what am I trying to say? Who's that? Okay. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say sometimes you just need to take time out and make time for the ones that came before you and the ones that is coming. Because even the ones that is coming is important. Right? They are very important. Very important. Even if like you're sitting in a park, you can even have a bowl of water. If you can even pour water while you're sitting in a park, you know, they would they like you can eat like even when you're drinking something, they're still getting fed. When you're eating something, they're getting fed. When you're talking their stories, they're getting fed. And I feel that, you know, just because this is computer era time or whatever, century, it doesn't mean to say that you cannot, because even digitally, you can even connect, okay? Because they will connect with you digitally too. It's the music, the sound, the drums, okay? So I don't even know whether I've explained it right or covered what I said right, because normally I would have like two, three, four, five, lots of things additional than the one video. But I didn't want to add more to what she said because sometimes when you listen to things on the audio, you hear so much more coming out of their mouth than when you look at the video itself. Now, she is one of many who's gone and initiated into Gogo. There's loads that have initiated into Ifa, loads has initiated into Santeria, Cordomble, Palo. Um, I think I've covered everybody. Carlo, the Palo, Palo one, which I always forget. So, so they will guide you because they know, and the family, not even the family, the ancestors will guide you anyway. That's all I can say on really. Yes, I sometimes forget to myself, but I think I simultaneously invite them in other ways. You know what I mean? Colors, I think I do the color thing. Um, Sometimes I drink a little something, something too. When you cook certain things, um, you put water around. Like today, I put water out. Like that's to be. Sometimes it could be routine or simultaneously. Sometimes the more connection you form with them, the more they will help you. The more they help you, the more stronger the connection, right? And if you have been around Chief Woolley is a good example of that, I think, where she connects with her ancestry line before she reads the tarot cards. You know, so I just thought I'll bring this up because I remember somebody was asking about the ancestor worship thing. Oh yeah, and on top of that, it is a focus point for you. It's a focus point for you and your family to also make that connection. So if you have a table, a white cloth, a white cloth, candles, flowers, you put up their images on the table. On the table, some people put it on the floor. Some people put it in cupboards. Some people put it in boxes. It's a wide range of ways that you can take time out to, acknowledge them. Just acknowledge your lineage, you know. And I know there is a lot of arguments of whether it's African or whatever. If you feel that strongly about it, then genealogy will probably play a part. But most of the time, you will know because it's the people that you're attracted to, right? The ones who are attracted to you. Like Nigerians are very much attracted to you quite a lot. Gambians, um, they are attracted to me. So sometimes you can identify who you are. So I mean, they called it so-called guesswork. Not necessarily guesswork. Sometimes you will buck up on your family and you form that connection. They be talking, it's like you understand them already. It's like you already know what they're talking about, but they're talking in the language. So to me, I feel that, you know, you just gotta just take that time out. Basically, just take the time out. That's all I can say, right? Like with most things. Yeah. People take time out to take walks in parks and all that stuff. You can take time out, even if you are in a house. You can keep them in the house. You can keep them outside the house. Not that, like but you don't have to put the pictures outside. It all depends on what or who you want to deal with as well. Because some ancestors they was worshipping stuff before, you know, right? They were in line for a long time. Like they show it in Roots, where even though he was a Muslim or whatever, no, even not even Roots. Sorry, Sankofa. And this Sankofa, the mother, she's from Ghana, and Mutabaruka was Shango, and they kept up their ancestral worship. They made it a secret. They kept it up. So you have to remember these are all important things that though I was going to say we as a people, that we have to remember. And sometimes we forget them because we're so busy doing other stuff. Our minds are all over the place. The day, nights, the day turns into night, the night turns into day. And we forget to take the time out for them. And like, and I feel that's where our greatest strength lies as well. You can even teach your children to even be in contact with all that. There is a video that I gotta find which shows a little girl and the mum um had a Papa Legba in the room, and the little girl now naturally goes, plays with the by the altar. She has the sweet, she understands what the spirit's telling her to do. She is very much aware of everything, and she connects to the spirit, that she's able to tell the mum, well, mum, you can have a sweet, or you know what I mean. So basically, this is all important. Just take time out, basically. I mean, even I myself forget sometimes. Myself, I do. But when I do remember, I actually give them a little something, something, or they would appear. They would appear to you in dreams and visions, or they leave your the message. I feel when you are more in danger, and if you're closest to your family, they would appear and they will, speak to you. And there's reasons for that. So you have to call their names sometime. You have to pour a little libation of water. Even before you even drink a drink, array your nephews or whatever you drink, you put it on the floor, you say their names, and you know, at least they know that how right you are acknowledging them. Now, I don't want to waffle, as you know, I'm a waffler. I waffle a lot. I don't want to lose my mind elsewhere. Now, I think the next time I come up, I'm gonna try and find an ether one that actually deals with the agungus, so you can hear for yourself. Because people tend to think that how people tend to think that how lost my line of talk now. People always think that how, oh yeah, it's a satanic thing. It's satanic. It's satanic. It's bad. You mustn't deal with ancestors. It's bad. But it's in the Bible as well. So, I mean, I'm not going to pull out the Bible. I ain't got nothing to prove to say. I mean, it's up to you. You know what I mean? You know what you are about and who you are about. So, you know, is it hard to find where you are? Oh, any rum, innit? Any rum. Any rum, man. I mean, the other day, as you saw, Jaded, I had the palm wine. I literally went to get the palm wine to pour on them, and I ended up drinking it myself. Um, I had to get amaretto and give to the SU, but sometimes, most cases, is vodka. Uh, Anything that's cane sugar. I think the cane sugar wine, not them clear gins are even better. They tend to listen more to you when you got them clear gins and rums and vodkas. So, you know, you just have to set time out. I mean, I used to do it on my birthday. I would, like I said, I would dedicate a whole day playing music, dancing, listening to the music. Um, if I feel to get certain foods, and I get it. If I don't, I don't. Um, I feel that's all the connection. I feel, you know what I mean. There is no don't do it this way, don't do it that way, right? Ancestor money. At first, there was a big outcry whether people should burn the jaded emperor and money to ancestors. But it works because one lady who I follow on here as well, she does it on a regular basis. She burns like hundreds of yin on her ancestors, hundreds. She has a huge space for her ancestors. It's not even a small space. She has a huge space, and she also puts like other ancestors there. So I don't know. Well, not that I don't know. I know for myself, I used to have them on the ground, and I used to pour water, and I used to have a book from Louisiana, and every time I dealt with that book, right, there was always a result, always guarantee a result. It's $100 bill. Yes, the $100 bill yen, yeah, and and there was always a result because I was very well connected to them, very well connected. Like I said, even my daughter, the last one I like she manifested, but I did already see her coming from a long time, I guess. But so once you know your lineage, right? Your lineage, even if you are of Native American descent or indigenous descent, however way you want to call yourself, right? Even you can go to certain places. I know in America there's powwows, they're definitely ancestral linked. I know that much for sure. Very big on that they are. So, it all depends on who you're linked with, who you know, who you vibrate to per se, then you can make the link. But even you yourself can make a link. You don't even need a set of people to be around to make that link. And people tend to mix up also the Egyptians with the African ancestors. You can't mix them all. You can't mix them up. Well, even though it's all part of the same thing, right? You have to know who you are. Who you are. That's why you have to. Right, you can Sankofa anywhere. I believe that anyway. You can Sankofa whether you're in the West. You can go to Africa if you want to. If you want the the big thing, because they will show you another way. Okay, so I'm not telling you there's a wrong or right way. Okay, I'm just giving you ideas and feelers to what you can do. You know. But what I say is always good to start off with a little table. I mean, one of my friends told me recently because she always asks me, "Have you set up your ancestors' table?" I don't answer sometimes, but I know I'm supposed to put one in place. I think it's just because of space and all that. But if you have a space that is wide enough and people won't see it, you can set up in a corner where they don't even see it. They don't even have to know that it's an ancestor table. You can set up like it's a normal table. They won't even know. The only way they would know unless you tell them it is what it is. Hi Christine, how are you? So, you know, I'm just thinking to myself if I can play another video without them telling me I have to cut it out because that is so annoying when I have to do that. I'm going to play it now anyway. So even if they tell me to cut it out, at least. Okay, let me find one as well. Let me see. Yeah, okay. I'm going to try this one. Hopefully They probably tell me to they probably tell me to what's the word it when it's time for it to thing. But anyway, let's see what's this going on. They probably tell me to cut it out, but
ancestors. This is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get, How do you worship your ancestors? And we'll talk about using that word a little bit later. But how do you talk to them? How do you communicate with them? Altars and things like that. So stay tuned in this video because we're going to give you a lot of important information on what it means to work with your ancestors and things that you really just need to know going forth in your life, especially when you have all of these spirits that are within your family lineage around you. So the first question is, why is it so important to even work with these people that are, they're in our family, but they're dead?
Well, they're not really dead. Their avatar is there, which is their body. And they're actually more alive than we are. They are in the spiritual world, and they are more alive and more active than we can even think about. Their energy is all over the place. But understanding your ancestors brings a light to your life in the world today, because your ancestors are part of your heritage, your culture, they're your bloodline. And sometimes understanding them will give you some understanding to yourself. Understanding that you might have a great-great-grandfather that loves to dig, for gold. Let's just say that. And for some reason you're attracted to gold, or you're attracted to the word, to mining, and you always feel something about mining. Most of the times that we're attracted to some type of energy or something that we do on Earth, you can go back in history and go through your ancestry, and you will find someone there that is connected with you. A lot of individuals feel that, you're born and that's it. You're your own identity. No, actually, your spirit is made up of many ancestors. Drop. I would say a drop, It's like the stars, you have your body, and the little stars are your ancestors, they're in your spirit.
So there's some truth to that Lion King movie with the stars and Mufasa.
Oh, yeah, there is. We'll get into the movies later, because they do have, it's a meaning, it's like you have little ancestors inside you, because, the bloodline, trickles down, and it's important because you're giving them respect, because without them, you wouldn't be here today.
Yes.
A lot of individuals say, well, my ancestors, were slaves, or they were, they were prosecutors, or whatever your ancestors were. It has a big part of who we are today. A big part, great part. A lot of individuals don't understand that. They just think, well, my ancestors, they're just dead people that, you want to keep around. No, you have to understand that your ancestors are it's like a puzzle. They are giving you, they're a piece of the puzzle that you're going to be part of. And as you go down the line, your kids, you're going to be a puzzle to their life and their kids, and the more pieces of puzzles that you have, the more complete I believe you are.
I like that analogy. That was really good.
So it's important to understand why are you going to find out about your ancestors? Why are you going deep into history? Not to feel I guess embarrassed or degraded or belittled or feel that your ancestors were slaves. All that is part of history, which they call in society is history, but it's your ancestors. They went through that. They went through the slavery. They went through the prosecution. They were the prosecutors, or they were the slave owners. Whatever your ancestors were, they had a dots of a star to who you are today. And understanding who they are will give you a bigger picture of who you are and where you want to go.
Now, let me ask you this. So we're talking about blood. What about adopted? People that are adopted.
Well, I hate to use that word adopted. I've heard that word a lot, adopted ancestors. There's no such thing as adopted ancestors, guys. That's just a word that, I don't know who brought it up. It could have been Willie Bo Jojo. He put that up, But there's no such thing as adopted ancestors, because I tell you what. First of all, we all came from one man and woman, eventually. If you go back down, science is still trying to find out who was the first man and the first woman. But it doesn't matter. It all trickles down to those first living beings. Well, how it's spread out, whether they, went to the south or they went to the north and the color got darker and the color got skinnier, whatever it is, there is there's a 0.1% or 1%, whatever you want to call it, that you have that goes back to the original man and women. So we all come from somehow the same bloodline. Now, what science has done is get you closer to your lineage, your bloodline, But if you go back millions of years, we all going to get connected some way, somehow.
Right.
So I don't use the word adopted ancestors. They still your ancestors. If you have a stepfather that has what you call no blood, eventually he has just think of this, he has 0.1% of blood somewhere.
So your stepfather could be like your 17th cousin.
Yeah, exactly. No, not your 17th million cousin.
Yeah. That's what
that's what's I would stop using the word adopted ancestors. Ancestors are individuals who transition and are in the spirit world and are connected to you, are part of your piece of the puzzle. You're the piece of the puzzle, and they're a piece of the puzzle. So whatever your puzzle is, they play a part, and they're a piece, you're a piece, and the more pieces you have, the more your puzzle is complete.
Good.
So,
Well, when I talk to people, a lot of people get really confused, especially when they're wanting to work with them, trying to figure out, well, how can they help me? Or, what's the best way to communicate with them to ensure that they can really, help me progress further along in my path and my journey.
Okay, the first thing you have to understand about ancestors is that they do not transition over and all of a sudden they grow these beautiful wings and they're so innocent and they're all in white. That's I would say a man-made image, and just the image of you grow these wings and then you're beautiful. Listen, your spirit is your spirit. So what you do today, how you feel today, whether you're funny, whether you're a bad thinker or a good thinker, how you live your life today is your spirit. So when you transition over, that doesn't change, because what has changed? When you transition, all you did was you left this avatar, this body, and you went to the spiritual world. So therefore, if you're funny here, you're gonna be funny in the spirit world. If you were mean here, you're gonna be mean in the spiritual world. So when you choose your ancestors, or you put them on the altar, or you want to deal with your ancestors, you have to deal with your ancestors like if they were right next to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what you got out of your ancestors, what you got out of your family or your ancestors while they were alive, you can ask the same thing as when they transition over. And you have to be careful with what you ask for. You know what I'm saying? Some ancestors, when they transition over, when people transition over and they realize that they created their own heaven, or they have some... they see the light. Well, when people they see the light, but they actually see the spirit world, and they start changing a little bit. They do change a little bit, and some don't. Some, hey, I'm gonna be funny. This is who I am, and they'll be like that in the transition, in the spiritual world. So when you put them in your ancestors, choose wisely, and choose wisely. and that's the energy of the ancestors.
Yeah. Yeah. Choose wisely, that's for sure, because I had some people on my ancestor altar that were like, you know what, I love you, but I really don't want to be here. So I said, no hard feelings. I'm gonna let you go. Especially during Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos, yes. Well, the ancestors, you want to keep them around if they want to be around. That's the first thing, their memory. And a good movie for that, and I tell everybody, a good movie that has a lot of meaning to it, and it has to deal a lot with Regla de la Ocha and Ifa, is the movie Coco. Coco has, I would say, like 85% of the true meaning of ancestors and the little stars.
I even forgot about that movie. Coco. Yes, of course. How could I forget that movie, man? Yes, Coco is a good example of ancestor worship.
Trying to figure out, well, how can they help me, or what's the best way to communicate with them to ensure that they can really help me progress further along in my path and my journey.
Okay, the first thing you have to understand about ancestors is that they do not transition over and all of a sudden they grow these beautiful wings and they're so innocent. You have to be careful with what you ask for, you know what I'm saying? Some ancestors, when they transition over, when people transition over and they realize that they created their own heaven, or they have some they see the light. Well, when people they see the light, but they actually see the spirit world, and they start changing a little bit. They do change a little bit, and some don't. Some, hey, I'm gonna be funny. This is who I am, and they'll be like that in the transition, in the spiritual world. So when you put them in your ancestors, choose wisely, and choose wisely, and that's the energy.
And it's the same thing I said, didn't I? I said that how you need to research who the people you're going to put on the altar. That's exactly what I said. I don't know why. I was there sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about. But yes, you have to choose wisely. It's important. You can't get one who's committed suicide, who was a murderer. You can't get ones like that. You have to be very selective. It's important that you select very wisely. So he's definitely on the button there. But he looks like an Ifa priest.
Of the ancestors.
Yeah. Choose wisely, that's for sure, because I had some people on my ancestor altar that were like, you know what, I love you, but I really don't want to be here. So I said, no hard feelings. I'm gonna let you go.
When they find out about old ancestors, well, my ancestor was this, and my ancestors was lived in the cornfield. Whatever it is, whatever makes you feel fulfilled in life. And there's a reason for that, because when you know that you're connected, you feel filled. You feel like there's an energy that comes inside you when you find that you are part of history, that you're part of the ancestry, and you find out that your great grandmother was married to a queen or a king. You know what I'm saying? All that enlightens you and makes you feel good, and it's knowing that you were part of history somewhat, some way. So it's important to deal with your ancestors.
Yeah. And one thing that I will say is that a lot of people think that our path is just, Orisha. But a lot of it really is working with our ancestors.
Yes. A lot of individuals feel that the Orisha is, first of all, your Orisha is the ancestor. Orisha is just one of the, beginning, before even man and woman were created. They were your first ancestors, your Orishas. And that's why they're powerful. But before you even could get into the Orishas, you should have your ancestors. Your ancestor also should always be number one, because even if you put, one of your Orishas there, if you put Shango, Yemayan, you don't know who your Orisha is, but they're still your ancestors, they were the beginning of time, of elements. If you could understand that your ancestors is the first one you should be dealing with and working with and asking with, you'll learn how to really master meditation and master everything you want in life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So, if you're looking or starting this journey on working with your ancestors, the first thing that I would recommend is start looking for who they are, especially if you haven't gotten into, research and genealogy. So, start with you. Literally, start with you. And it may take some digging. Trust me, it's not going to be an overnight process. I've been doing research for well over 10 years, and trust me, it gets frustrating at times, right?
No, yes.
But nevertheless, keep moving forward, keep striving, and trust me, you are going to be very thrilled with a lot of the information that you do find, especially when you find like death certificates, birth certificates, marriage certificates. I mean, newspaper articles. I could go on, the list and listen on. But the main takeaway from this video is know who you are. By knowing who your ancestors are. And the way to know that is to do your research and just plainly start communicating with them. We're going to come back with a part 2 to this video where we're going to discuss what's really super important for you to put on your ancestor altar so that way you can further enhance your communication methods with them. What do you think?
That'd be awesome. Great. I guess we can go by the first.
So they were actually very good, I like how right, I think they more or less said what I said. I'm laughing, so funny. They more or less said what I said. They said what I said is like the same. The only thing I got wrong was the movie, but Sankofa is definitely one of those ones that, yeah, Sankofa shows a lot of things, but Coco, yes, definitely shows, um, you know, definitely shows that, your ancestors are with you all the time, because even I think I remember rightly, the grandma, um, when he went into the next life, if I remember the movie rightly now, he went into the next life because he met the ancestors. Oh, and another one is Mulan. Mulan, the ancestors are there too in Mulan, because Mushu was the dragon who was surrounding the ancestors' statues, and they came alive when he called them. So, even though it's a Japanese thing, but it's still the same thing, because the Asians, they take their ancestor worship very, 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 what you call it? It's important to them. You know, they don't really play when it comes to that sort of thing. Um, Right, even though it's an African thing that I'm trying to put out, I'm going to show Mulan because they talk about it. They talk about Coco, but I'm going to show Mulan.
Watch over Mulan. Watch over Mulan.
Awaken.
So tell me what mortal needs my protection, great ancestor. You just say the word and I'm there.
Bushu.
And let me say something. Anybody who's foolish enough to threaten our family, vengeance will be mine.
Bushu. These are the family guardians. They
Protect the family.
and you, Oti Moti One.
I am the god.
That's right. Now, wake up the ancestors.
One family reunion coming right up. Okay, people alive, let's go. Come on, get up. Let's move it right now. All we have to do is sleep, man. Trust me.
I knew it. I knew it. That Mulan was a troublemaker from the start.
Don't look at me. She gets it from your side of the family.
She's just trying to help her father. She's discovered, but she didn't.
Don't know how much I can play of that. But what I'm really trying, the example I am trying to give is that with these certain cartoons, what they show the children or the families, however, right, they show that there's always a protector who protects the ancestors. There's always one you have to call, so you can call the others, and like if they come from that traditions. But as they already highlighted in the previous video, right? They said, and I'll put this very straightforward, and I would only say this once. You go, you have to like check out your ancestry. It's important, but also saying that, like I said, they would lead you to them more or less. So even if you're not in connection with certain houses, certain spiritual houses, etc. See, it's very strange because, like he said, people look at Orisha as Orisha, but they're actually ancestors as well because they was actually roaming the earth before. But they see them as um, separate entities most cases. But like I said, the Egunguns, which is the ancestors, which is what you see in Africa when they are the ones walking around the villages. When you go to certain places, if they are dealing with certain cultural worship, now unless you're not looking very carefully. Oh yeah. Also, when you pass an Asian shop or a Thai shop, they have an ancestor altar outside the shop, inside the shop. They make sure they feed them ancestor altars. So before the customers come in, they have sorted out them ancestors altar before you lot even gone in to do your nails, gone in to get your massages. Like, Asians are on it. I mean, we are, most of us are just now coming into this, the majority of us, the one who's actually gone into certain things and realize who we are and all this. The Asians do this on a regular basis. Hindus do this on a regular basis. This is their life. This is what their children know of. This is their thing. Now, we, on the other hand, it's like we have to find out exactly where we are, which part we land on, because we come from all over the place. In most cases, we was the aggressor. In most cases, to our own. So, basically, you have to be very careful. One man that was over here, he went to find out about his ancestor, and the ancestor was the slave owner. So you have to be very, you have to really find out. I mean, luckily for me, I don't have to do that much digging because my grandmother is all I know. I don't know, and I know some of my people. So it's not really hard, really, for me to pinpoint what is what. So most people, like as she said, she has to go through death certificates, newspapers, talk to grandma, granddad, great grandma. Sometimes left a whole heap of pictures. Them old pictures, old black and white pictures, be hovering around. You have to say, "Who's that?" You ask them, "Who is that?" They will tell you, you know. But like as she stated, yeah. So, like I said, the Asians are well ahead on us on this one. I can say that for sure. Unless you come from certain parts of, well, people saying they're not Africans nowadays. So I'm not even gonna. But if you don't come from certain parts, you don't know who you are. You don't know where you stand on the spectrum, right? It's you. You are the family link. You are the family. You can clear karma from your family just dealing with you, basically. Talking to your ancestors, all that helps clear karma. Like I said, even with the ancestor money, clears karma. You give them cigars, you give them their rum. You would even smell them in the room. They'll be right there in the room with you. Right? They will make themselves be known. I guarantee you that. So, so, um, I don't think there's nothing else I can say because I think that video already explained more or less what I already said already. I don't know why. Well, not that I was doubting myself. I wasn't doubting myself. Just that I'm just trying to get across very clearly and concise and let you know that these are important things that we have to undertake. It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, Muslim, whatever you call yourself. We all come from somewhere. And our family, especially the rebel ones, who's outside of that spectrum, we are the ones who save the family, really, to be honest. Because we're doing all these practices. We're pouring libation. We're burning ancestral money. We're saying their names on a regular basis. We're talking about them. We're learning their secrets. Who's done what. So it's left for you, the individual, at the end of the day. Like I said, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying in general. So, you know, so like I said, I ain't gonna talk much. I'm not gonna talk much on this one here because it's just self-explanatory. I don't need to say much really. I played the Gogo, she said her part, and I played the Ether priest and priestess, and they said their part. I don't need to say no more. I gave an example, and I don't like to go on and on and on. As you know, the ones who know me the longest, they know right. You know what I'm like already. I don't like to go on and on and on. And yeah. So let me just put this one on. I always go past the thing. I should actually make people ask me questions or come up, but I don't like the long thing. Hold on. Hi, real talk. Oh, the time is 12:31, but I'm gonna be doing an open panel and stuff like that. Oh, I just explained about ancestral worship. Um, Let me see. What are you saying? Black sheep of the family is usually the ones who clean up the generation curses. That is true. That is actually true. Definitely true. No, it's 12:33. My time's behind. So, anybody else got any more statements on the video? Hmm. And I sound a bit angry, didn't I? Sorry. I'm not angry. I'm cool. I'm probably just tired. I think that's what it is. So, you know, basically, like I said, it's self-explanatory. I don't really need to say much. Catch the replay. Yeah. So basically, this is a self-explanatory video. Really, I don't really need to say much. Hiya, you come when I'm about to fly. I'm just about to go. I could play another video, but should I put a one in the chat if you want to hear more information? A one or two, something. I sound very tired, don't I? I think I sound a bit grouchy, don't I? I've been up from early morning. That's probably why I sound a little. I was all right today, actually. So yeah, do you want? Do you want? Do you want more information? I can just play more for the ones who's coming in late. I don't even mind staying up a little longer for you. It's fine because I more or less finished the video anyway. It's not really a lot to say on the matter, really. Because I'm gonna, because after these lives that I've done here, I'm taking a month off. I'll be only be going and in chats. That's it. So I'm taking a little bit off, having a moment. Okay, so yeah. I must sound a bit grouchy today. I sound growly. I was fine all day today. Really, I was absolutely fine. I think because I know I gotta get stuff out. There's a whole heap of madness going on. That's why there's other stuff going on. So yeah, okay. Let me just. Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't even do my hi to everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm really bad today. Sorry, people. My manners. Sorry. My head's gone on me today, innit? I'm not myself. Okay, let me just say my hi's to everybody in the room, even the ones who's left, came and left. Okay, so hi Alexis. I think that's gum. I think or Guam. Hi tinfoil. Hi ghetto child. Hi Chrissy. Lady Chrissy. Hi Amanda. Don't worry, the next live will be more lively. I'll be more lively because I have an open panel, so I'll be a little more awake, a little more here. Um, hi Ivy. Hi Miss Wise. I said Alexis already, didn't I? Oh yeah, I said Alexis. Jade did Emperor. Yeah, get some rums. Get some rums. Jade Emperor. Christine. Leonard. Trips. I did see Big Philly. Oh yeah. Beast mode. Oh, he's not showing. See beast mode, see, because you're causing trouble, that's why. It doesn't want to show you. Um Big Philly OG. Real talk. Sister Mama Amazon. Yeah. Okay, I think I got everybody. Okay, so there is open panel coming soon, most probably in the weekend. Now, remember, I've got to talk about Inzinga's thing. We're not going to talk about the Whoopi Goldberg thing. I'm not touching that one. Um, yeah, we're going to talk about a few things on the open panel. Okay. We can even talk about this stuff as well. This ancestors worship. For those who never done it before, it's not a scary thing. You can. It's quite easy to do. Like once you got a good spot in your house, it's quite easy. It's very easy. You can even do it like um as one of my friends on FB says. River says you can just have water, a candle. Yeah, water and a candle. That's how most people start. All right. So it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be lavish. You just can do something small. You don't have to be massive or they will hear you any which way. Yeah, they will hear you. Oh, it's all right now, Christine. You can comment now. YouTube was knocking it out. YouTube put it on disabled, or I might have put it on disabled, but you can talk on it now. There's a few things I had to adjust because I see that the some comments was missing from some of the videos as well. So I might have to go through them and see what's going on there. But yeah, it disabled the video under Nzinga's one. But you can put you can put your opinion there. I mean, it's fine. I'm not I normally don't disable the comments anyway, as you know. The ones who's been riding with me for long, you know how I stay already. I don't disabled I think I only disable one video, but I never will disable videos to do with people who's like in that turmoil. Like that's a bit petty, you know. I would not do that. It's not worth it because I've had subscribers who's been around me for a long time. So I have to keep things very authentic and very true to myself. I cannot be um, a certain way. It's no point because I don't, it's not going to get me nowhere, is it? So yeah, it disabled itself as well. It disabled or I disabled it by accident. I don't know which way, what happened, what. But it should be all right now. You should be able to comment on these videos because I like to hear opinions. I always say that all the time. I like to hear opinions. As long as it's not rude, I would listen to you. It's fine. Even this one, I know that video that I did with the two people ain't gonna stay there. I know they're gonna say copyright or some shit. They're definitely gonna say that. That's why I was trying to find one that I can put up, but it's very difficult to find certain videos when you want it all the time. Like even if you need original stuff to show to the peoples, it's hard. It's difficult. Um, yeah. So yeah, you can literally go and comment. Did put a PSA out for open panel. So if these are free, I think the weekend Claire needs to come back up and do another one of her little things again. Anybody who wants to do little things and you come up, I will give you the email and you can be in contact with me. I'm trying to formulate something right now that is helpful to everybody. Now, it'll be helpful to everybody. Um, yeah, I just have to work on that one. I think I spoke to one person about it already. That's already helped one person, so I know I can do it. So, um, we we are going to talk on the open panel probably weekend. Put the notifications on the ones who's been around for ages. There's a new one, a new person that's joined as well. But I know that lady as well, so it's cool. So like even Jaded Emperor is a very interesting one too. You lot should subscribe to him. He's very interested, very funny. He does little skits. Tripsies, I told you a lot about Tripsies already. You can go over to her. Remiel Maat, Real Talk TV, Ivy Irvine. There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of people. Anybody that I haven't mentioned, you can go onto the channel featured and you'll find some channels there. You can go see whether how you feel about them, and you can go and follow them. I'm not gonna say don't follow them. You can follow them. It's fine, you know. So because me and Christine already been on the same one, but I said, but I'm sure Christine is comfortable over at Sister Mama Amazon's too, because my sister's it's like going to your friend's house. That's what it is like. So basically, before my head really pop off my shoulders, I'm going to go rest my head because by the time I blink, it's gonna be 1 o'clock. Now, you can watch on a replay. Hopefully, you will get the other video on the replay. I know they're going to tell me to cut it out because they did. They told me I had to do it with the Benjamin Zephaniah. So all this what I'm saying now will most probably be cut out. Okay? I'm warning you in advance. Okay? So, on the other videos, I'm going to see what I could do. Okay? Because like I got the mindfulness one to do. And I've got another one to do. I've got to try to take everybody out so there's plenty to watch while I have the break. Because otherwise I'm going to get burnt out and then I'll be no good to use. Look. So with that said, I'm going to come off. Oh, I've still got your thing highlighted. I'm going to come off and yeah, like I said, rum, water, flowers, a picture, research. Okay? Alright? Good. Okay? So, with that said, I'm going to come off. And Christine, I wish I could contact you another way. Oh, I need to find a way to contact you to let you know of certain things as well. Because sometimes people say they don't get notifications and all this stuff. So I need to find a way. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. But yeah. Anyways, let me just do the play out. I should play the other one, but this is the mood for the day.
I got the power I share. Hell, all I do my red. Flow change like oh yeah. To my fans, more to pray. Traffic and African rituals. I know it's far from typical. I know they calling it mythical. I just be calling it mystical. Whoa. Black magic with white fabric, they petrified. I see through the ancestors' eyes. You can't see it cause you question eyes. My chain hang for Ogun. That flame's lit, I'm in tune. That high giant is in the air, boy. That smoke fills up that room. I'm consumed. I laugh at y'all. Grant my people with good health. Don't talk about it, but I live it, boy. You grant my folks with plenty wealth. I walk the path of that shoe. Then they reciting no doom. 2 mouths up and 2 mouths down. Got balance made in my view. Oh yeah, bring your interchange. Power down, I share. Arun Miller, give me purpose. Power down, I share. Throw my obies through my head. Power down, I share. Read my Odu, eat by daily. Power down, I share. Egun got me. Ori got me. Olarun got me. Soru got me. Ebo got me. Ajuban got me. Baba Wa got me. Iyawa got me. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Aki, yeah. I am the sun in the moon, still I feel like a Oshun. Ori prayer in the morning, hands up all around. 4 pots for a goon goon. See my grits in the room. Throw the shells to the plate. Menchi and Della goon goon. 5 chains on my neck. The Ile gaze they reflect. Y'all speak, oh yeah, cool. Translation as death. Sprinkle a little IJ. All that room for an EE Ray. Akina Moran, I'm blowing my hand. I'm pitching the sand. Whoa! Plead the Obi, stand with my Ile Igoki. Warrior type, I'm like a trophy. Shango power, come approach me. That's thunder. For the spirits I conjure. Wake 'em up from that slumber. Right? You just call my number. Oh yeah, bring your winds to change. Power down, I share. Arun Miller, give me purpose, power down, I share. Throw my Obies, cool my head, power down, I share. Read my Odu, eat by daily, power down, I share. Egun got me, Ori got me, Olarun got me, Saoru got me, Ebo got me, Ajuban got me, Baba Wa got me, Iyawa got me. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. I go Obi, I go Obi, I go Obi, yo. Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Aki, yeah.
Eshu on the left, Obatala on the right, Ogun on my neck, Orisha in my life. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it. Open up. For all you do, you deserve the best, so we gon' keep it all blessed. When the Most High come, no man contest. You're not rockin' with the best. Words on my neck, machete in my hand. Seeing life through the eyes of a wise old man. All praise the king of the white cloth and the Palladian bins with the tops off. In a house of magic with the cowrie out. Divine on the style. Wolf, hawk, jaguar come through with the spirit of an innocent child. Eshu on the left, Obatala on the right, Ogun on my neck, Orisha in my life. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it. Jump up, make joyful noise when the Most High come through. It destroys all the negative vibes that open up the road. By the way, blessings bestow upon those who pay respect to the owner of the road. It can put you in a good place, in a good space. Put a smile on your face like you just got paid. Sipping lemonade in the shade on a beautiful day. Wolf, hawk, jaguars on stage. Band 100 sound like a parade. Open up, come through, Most High bless you. Eshu on the left, Obatala on the right, Ogun on my neck, Orisha in my life. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it.
Wake up, don't let this moment pass by. The feeling you get when you're in tune with the Most High. The feeling you get when you're in tune with the Most High. Wake up, don't let this moment pass by.
I'm not the author, just the messenger. Channeling the spirit of the ancestors. On the road to a better place. 7 eggs for a goal, so you gotta respect the way. When we headed to Elay, fade to play in front of kings and queens. Rejoice in the powers of the Most High and the blessings that it brings. Eshu on the left, Obatala on the right, Ogun on my neck, Orisha in my life. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it, bless it, bless it. Open up and let the Most High come through us, come through me, come through you. Bless it.
Good night, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a good night. See you later.